With Ethiopia's birr dropping 30% in value following Monday's decision to float the currency, the central bank aims to secure international monetary fund support and also push forward a long-delayed debt restructuring. To understand the potential impact of this pivotal move on the country's trade balance and also broader economic landscape, I spoke earlier to Bernard Laurendeau, who is the CEO of Arifpay.
First thing in order is to really congratulate not just the Ethiopian people, but really I think the Ethiopian government on coming up with amazing reforms. You know, I think the FX reforms that we've seen coming out yesterday, and I think a lot of us are still digesting. You know, it's about 108 pages of pure gold and a lot of nuggets out there in the document, and we're still going through it. And also really congratulations to the IMF and other multilaterals that I think really wanted to be part of this success story, right? I think in Ethiopia we have an economic powerhouse and, you know, success attracts other stakeholders. And I think the IMF couldn't wait to be part of this journey, as it would have been a big miss for them not to be part of this portfolio. And I think that's where I want to start, right? Is to kind of reframe the narrative here. First of all, you know, it hasn't been a journey, or the objective is not devaluation. The objective is not also chasing a deal from the IMF. The objective has been the same for a few decades, you know, in Ethiopia. It's been to really support a growing economy. As you know, just a few years ago, we were at 100 billion in GDP. We're now at 200 billion in GDP, right? Fifth in sub-Saharan Africa, and really number one in East Africa. So really from a geopolitical standpoint, from an economic standpoint, this is a country that you know, that needs to be reckoned with. And so I think all the multilaterals are acknowledging that they want to be part of this success story. Having said that, you know, even though the country has been on a dramatic economic growth for the last few years, we've had also a few issues here and there, you know, including not just COVID, but also including a few internal crises. As I was saying earlier, right, it's like a mother giving birth to a baby. The first 9 months are a bit difficult, especially towards the end. But then there's the joy of the birth, right? So we're foreseeing to see that joy coming in about 2 to 3 months after the erratic behavior of human beings, just like not just in Ethiopia, but anywhere around the world. Whenever there's a strong decision being made by a central bank, you see a bit of erratic decisions being made, not just by individuals, but also by corporations. And then you kind of enter a phase of stability, right? And so we're hoping that that phase of stability of the market-led exchange rate converging maybe in 2 to 3 months. And at that point, you know, we will see really the power, yes, again, of entrepreneurship and innovation being unleashed.
We are likely to see having an implication or impact on both, you know, the domestic market and also international investment flows here. Bernard, looking at the opening of Ethiopia's stock market to foreign investors. But let us look at the ease of relaxing currency restrictions for travelers. How do we see this impacting Ethiopia's foreign exchange reserves and also the trade balance? Yes, this is coming up maybe in the next 3-4 months, but let us look at what impact it is going to have. And also maybe, was it the right decision? Yes, you have rightly put it was the right decision to make, but let us look at the implications we are likely to see coming forth.
Yeah, so I really thank you for this question, right? Because again, in that reframing of the situation at hand here, I think it's really important to, again, understand how strong the Ethiopian economy has been and how strong it has been in attracting investment despite all of the challenges, right? There's going to be a lot of opportunities for all of these investors. And I want to really, again, emphasize on the fact that it's not just investment in manufacturing and you know, things like coffee, etc. No, Ethiopia is much bigger than that. We have the retail whole sector and the wholesale sector also that's going to open up. We have a tremendous amount of innovation and entrepreneurship also in Ethiopia that's just been ready to accommodate such investment. So again, we foresee an avalanche of investments flowing into Ethiopia, not just because they're not cautious, but because they've been knocking on the door for quite some time. And this is the moment that they've been waiting for. Remember, Ethiopia also has a massive growth in terms of its middle class. I know inflation has been difficult. It's going to continue to be difficult in the next 2, 3, 4 months, but then it's going to come down. Remember also that Ethiopia 34 years ago, the average middle class person wasn't able to even dream to go to Dubai and what have you.
Yes.
Nowadays, we have a middle class in Ethiopia that's able to buy goods and services, and this is what the retails and the wholesales and other investors are looking for, this massive middle class that's growing in Ethiopia.
Yes, and Bernard, let us shift gears a little bit and look at the other side of it. You know, when you introduce something, you expect the good and the bad. So let us look at the black market. Do we expect maybe an overpopulation of the bill when it comes to the black market, or what are the counter effects that you're likely to see here?
So look, I think there's been a bit of a race between the, I mean, really just in the 36 hours. So we can't really use this as a sample to predict what's going to happen in the future. But again, looking at India and other countries in the past that have, or maybe even as recently as Argentina, et cetera, that have also taken such measures of floating and going market-based. You know, there's obviously, again, a phase of stabilization, or a phase where, you know, there's a bunch of erratic behavior. So I think yesterday, for instance, the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia decided that 74 was a good rate, but that was their decision, right? And the market rate, not just yesterday, but 2 hours after some of the things were, some of the reforms were decided to go at 140. Depending on which person you were talking to, right? So there's going to be that kind of trend for a little bit, but then again, we foresee those two things to really converge, and there's no reason why they wouldn't, because in Ethiopia just about 4 years ago, the gradient between the market, I mean the fixed rate and the market, the parallel market rate were almost similar. There was just a bit of a difference. So again, I think once the individuals and corporations come back to their senses, and there's going to be some losers and winners in this story. Losers because they've maybe won big in the past. And winners now because they may have lost in the past, right?